All right. So we got somebody in here that knows the game, knows the system. Your name is Atinas, right?
A
How do you say your
tennis.
name?
A
Atinas, yeah.
tennis.
It's not. It was the family courts is something that I think a lot of people don't even know how to even like deal with, And just tell us, like, a lot of us don't know nothing. So just start from the beginning. Is there a
Okay.
chance to get like? Do you have a chance against a woman in family court?
It depends. Now, I can only talk in regards to the state where I'm currently working at, which is Florida.
Hmm.
Um, and when it comes, and I've noticed a trend a lot, especially with the states that are more conservative, that they have more conservative family law. Like Florida, it's you can win. I've seen cases where men have won, but it's a more extraordinary circumstances where there's a lot of evidentiary proof of, let's say, of alienation or any other wrongdoing from the opposing party, from the woman. And a lot of the times, even then, they'll still allow some sort of visitation. When I've seen that in most cases, the in the tables have when the tables have turned, then yeah, the guy tends to like not have any visitation. Yeah, I've it's a little, it really muddies the waters because when it comes down to family law, everything is on a case by case basis. It really depends the specifics of the case.
Right. Okay. And I love having you on. The reason I want to have you on is because you like the model type of wife that I push for people that watch me to get because Amador, I mean, he loves you so much. He talks about how y'all have fun. It's like it's just like heaven, And a lot of people in these family courts, they pick the wrong wife, they pick the wrong baby mama. And I guess I would say like from your experience, what are some like tips you can give to guys to pick a woman that is actually, I guess you would say, wife material? Like, what are some? Is there any red flags, or is it just kind of like you rolling the dice with any girl you pick? Like, what's some things that guys should look for when they looking for a wife or a girl?
First things first, I'm gonna say that oh, that's super sweet. That I my first things first, Albert and I have been together for a very long time, and I love him to pieces. I absolutely love this man. And it's kind of cute. Makes me blush a little bit, you know. And but mainly the thing is that those things are just personal to people, and honestly, what they have to kind of watch out for in that sense is just what knowing yourself first before you go into a relationship. I feel like people first need to spend some time learning about themselves. What do they want? What do they not want? What are some red flags for them? What are immediate deal breakers? Because a lot of people I've noticed is that, especially like the people who have a lot of these issues, of course, you have the people who have these issues and they've had them for the rest of their life, that they just kind of seem to pick the wrong people. But a lot of people do this earlier in life before they really get to know themselves. I feel like first people should really take some time to know what they want out of life, what they want out of a person, what they're looking for, and their non-negotiables. And then after, once they go ahead and find someone who they think is interesting, to start asking those tough questions. Then after, all of a sudden, you can really, and then be honest with yourself. You just can't just be like blinded by like, oh yeah, look at all these red flags, but bro, she's hot as hell. Or like, oh yeah, she puts out. Like you can't be blinded by that. You have to have a certain level of honesty with yourself to be like, I asked these questions. I found out about this person. Can I continue this? Is this sustainable? Is this long lasting? And a lot of the times it's not. But a lot of people, they miss those red flags, and then after, all of a sudden they're in a relationship where they're not compatible, and then it just turns toxic.
Okay, amazing. And what she said, guys. What she said is 100% true. That's why I like to bring on like genuine people like you and Amador, because y'all said it straight. And like y'all been married for how long?
Married? We've been married for 11 years.
11 years. I guess another thing I would touch on, since I got some experience on here, when people get into marriages, I don't think they think long term. Like after the first argument, a lot of people are ready to give up, you know, and it's just like being married 11 years. What tips can you give guys to maybe go the long haul? You know, like what is there, like a give and take? Is it 50-50? Like what's y'all's philosophy in y'all's marriage? And maybe people could copy it to have a successful marriage like you and Amador's.
Here's the thing though, like when it comes down to marriage,
Mhm.
a lot of people think that it's easy. It's not easy. It is one of the hardest things you'll ever have to go through. You'll have to experience. It's the most beautiful thing, but it's also the hardest. Because here's the thing, when you're married to somebody, you're not just married them unless you just have like are married for other reasons like platonic or whatever. But you're creating a family. Just like with any family, you're gonna have arguments, you're gonna have fights. Now, here's the thing: a lot of people go and they have the fights and they have these disagreements and then they clash, and then they don't take the time to realize. They just like, oh yeah, they just kind of blind themselves with rage. Like, okay, I'm done. This is it. You know, divorce. And then they don't really take the time to realize that maybe the person may be right or not even right, but like may have a point, or you don't get to see what the other person's feeling or coming from. You don't put themselves in their shoes. So a lot of people have these arguments and then, or they'll say like, oh yeah, my girl just blew up on me. But then all of a sudden they don't realize like, oh yeah, you know, maybe there's some fault in there too. And the same thing with women, like they'll go and they'll blow up in this guy and then they'll be like, I want a divorce. But then also all of a sudden they don't really think about like, okay, you know, what did I do in this relationship? Because these relationships don't crumble just from one side. They come up from both sides for the most part. But I honestly think that it's a lot of compromise. You have to compromise. You have to pick your battles, but not even picking your battles, but it's more like you can't if you can't lose the spark that started the relationship. And if you do, and if you notice it, you have to work at it to be able to continue it. Because a lot of people will go and will say, oh, I just fell out of love with you. No, you have to work at that, because there's going to be some moments that you're going to look at them, you're so pissed off at this person and you don't like right now, I don't love you, but you have to work at that spark. You be like, this is a momentary thing, it will pass, and then after all of a sudden it's going to be okay. It ebbs and flows, just like everything in this life. It's just like if you get in a fight with your sibling and right now at that moment you hate that sibling, like, oh, I can just punch you in the face. But then afterwards, anybody messes with that sibling, it's on. And it's just, a lot of people don't think of it that way. But of course, you have to really know when to stop at that point as well, because there's some things that no amount of compromise can fix. But for the most part, a lot of the times when people just have those irreconcilable differences where they just feel like they grew apart, it's just they're not working towards it.